Hi everyone, in the previous video we showed how to set up and pack up the Caccillia La Piccola one group coffee machine, and now we're going to go through the process of making 5 or 6 cups of different types of coffee, and at the end with a hot chocolate. But before we start making our coffee, we need to just check a few things beforehand. One, we need to check to make sure that the water tank is full. We need to make sure that there's no coffee pods, that someone might have left one previously from the previous day. We need to make sure that the boiling water is on, and also that there's no dried milk in the milk spout. Once we've done that, we give that a little nice and clean, a wipe. Then we can now start making our first cup of coffee, which is the easiest, the espresso. So we put the small cup, a 4-ounce cup underneath. We unwrap our coffee pod. Now you'll see that it has a little tab on the front. We hold that and we can directly put that in, and it fits perfectly and very nice and soft, and gently drop that down. And really the only cup and button that we press is that first single cup. Once this is finished, then we can move on to our second cup of coffee, which is your piccolo. Now the difference between an espresso and a piccolo is that the piccolo has some milk in it, some froth milk, a miniature version of a cappuccino. So that is your perfect cup of espresso. Now that we've done that, you need to now make sure that you take the pod out and throw it into the bin. Now, for this purpose of making coffees, especially as this is used for volunteers, and many of them aren't baristas, I would suggest that you use a thermometer. With this thermometer, it actually gives you the 70 degrees, which is the maximum, but I would start pulling it out after it starts reaching about 50. So you grab the nozzle, make sure you use the plastic grip so it doesn't burn your hand. And when we're making the piccolo, we need to make sure to get as much froth possible that you have the nozzle sitting pretty much on top of the milk. At around 50, we start locking it away. Now, you need to make sure that you've got the wet cloth to clean the nozzle after every time. Now, we're about to make our first piccolo. What this does, it actually gets a froth and the milk to work together, and you'll see that it's nice and creamy. This gives you your perfect piccolo. While we've got this going and it's nice and warm, again, making a cappuccino, you would take the pod out, insert it into the group, drop that down. We would put our cup underneath, and again, we press that button. Now, to make sure that, again, this is nice and frothy, we swirl it around. We are now ready. There's our cappuccino. So the difference between a cappuccino and a latte is really the chocolate that the cappuccino has on top. The one that's a bit different to the cappuccino and the latte is your flat white. Now, flat white means no froth on top. So again, what we would do is pick out one of the pods, insert that, press the button, and we pour more milk into the jug. Now for the flat white, I'm going to show you where the nozzle has to sit to make sure that you have a flat white and there is no froth. So again, you lift the nozzle up. The nozzle has to go all the way down to the bottom of the jug. And you can hear, previously there was a lot of frothing happening. Here is not. It's just warming up the milk. And again, you leave that until it hits just over 50. And we start closing that down. And again, you can see how the milk dries up on the spout. So we need to make sure that it's nice and clean. And we would even give it a, to get rid of that milk. And as you can see here, there is no froth. That is your flat white, that is your latte, and cappuccino is just the chocolate spray on top. The last but not least is your long black. Long black is a shot of coffee. Again, what we're doing is we grab a pod, put that into the group, and press that button. Long black is a shot of espresso with hot boiling water on top. So that is most probably one of the quickest coffees that we can make. Very similar to an espresso. So now we have our espresso, which is your short black. Now, very easily, pouring our boiling water into it. That is your long black. People will actually ask for an extra shot. To do that, all you're doing is putting your cup underneath and just adding another shot, which comes from another pod. That would be at an extra cost, and you'd need to speak to your club about what the extra cost would be. But that is all of the different cups of coffee: your espresso, your piccolo, flat white, cappuccino, latte, long black, and also your double shot. The only thing that's left now is how would we make a hot chocolate. So your hot chocolate, you can just buy the normal Cadbury from your local supplier or Coles, Woolies, and it would be 1.5 heap of chocolate, the same way that you would make your cappuccino. You'd pour your milk in and frothing it with the nozzle sitting pretty much on top of the milk, so you can get a nice even froth. And again, once it gets close to 50, you would close that down. Clean the nozzle. Now again, you need to just swish that around. Now at this point, I would actually mix that. And again, there's our beautiful hot chocolate. That's all the coffees and hot chocolate that you can make with the Caccillia La Piccola.